Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. This will be the video where this Porsche hopefully goes down from the lift and out of the garage. There's still a lot of stuff to do. That means that I will have to fit the brake calipers. I need to change the ball joints on the steering rack, which is going to be a little bit more involved than normally. Then I'm going to change shoes and hardware in the rear brakes. Also change the cylinders because I noticed something about those. More about that later. But let's get to work fitting all the stuff back together on the Porsche. Let's go ahead and fit the caliper. I fitted it with new brake pads. Actually, the old ones were not that worn, but the old disc was pretty uneven, so I didn't want to risk destroying that. So I have changed those. It's good practice to do. Also, I don't know how old they are. I also changed the bleeder screw and the brake line. I have to put a new bolt on this one because when I try to turn it, it bends the pipe and that will wreck the pipe. So I'm going to cut the pipe and then I'm going to make a new one. It's long enough for me to just reuse. It's copper, so it's great for our climber at least. I'm going to cut it and make a new flare. There we go. And then we can go ahead and fit it like that. Whoop. The whole reason why I changed this brake line was because the other one was missing this that goes into here, and that has resulted in a cut in the line, which I didn't want to risk having on my Porsche. There we go. Nice! Then I'm just gonna tuck that brake line into shape again. Maybe a bit more in like that. That looks fine. So the caliper is back on. The brake line is assembled. And not only on this side, but also on this side, the exact same. And remember, as mentioned, this car was actually MOT'd a while back and then parked and didn't really drive after that. So I was expecting it to be pretty okay in the brake department, but I went to take a look at the bleeder nibbles because I want to change the brake fluid. It's old brake fluid. And there is no brake nibble on it. It's broken off, and therefore I decided to go ahead and change the wheel cylinders on both sides. They are both broken and I don't want to risk anything, so I'm going to change them. That means I need to take off this nut, and I was warned against that in the comment section a while back. But let's go ahead and try with the big skill impact driver or gun and see what happens. There we go. So I'm gonna dial this up to the top and activate nut buster. Let's see what happens. Not a problem. Ever since getting this tool, I no longer use air tools pretty much. It's just so powerful. I actually did try to buy some new brake drums, but they were out of stock. So I hope to just reuse these. I am changing everything inside of here, but I'm gonna wash it anyway just to neutralize all the dust. Trying not to get anything into the bearing. Even though there is a seal, it's not sealing completely. Just want all that dust to at least be wet, like that. It's amazing to think that this car has passed an MOT, and it has, as far as I know, with broken bleeder screws on both sides. I'm just gonna change them. I don't even want to start trying to get these out. I might keep them just to have something to train on once I hit a car with a more rare brake cylinder because these are very cheap, so it's much easier just to change it. So here we go. New brake shoes, new brake hardware, new brake line, flexible line in there. And I also started to reorganize the brake wires because they were just hanging down here like they are there still. I have no more of these clips, so I'm gonna get some more and clean it up because you don't want your brake lines to catch on stuff. I'm also treating some rust up there. It's not too bad, but it needs to be treated. And then going on from there. Next up, I'm going to take off the drive shaft because I need to change the rubber boot. I will also go to this side and actually tighten up the screws because they are loose. It was supposed to be so easy. So I have embarked on the journey of removing the drive shaft so I can change especially the inner gator right here. And much to my surprise, it uses some sizes or bit sizes that I don't have. Socket size, I think is the right word. It's called XZN, I think. And I only have them in larger sizes. You can maybe see. They got those splines, and it's not Torx because there are way more of them. When I change the gator, I will also change the balls because they come in the kit new and nice with normal socket heads on them. So what I have decided, rather than to go to the local shop and buy the correct tools, which I most likely won't use because this is the first time I ever came across this size, and I have been working on a lot of cars. So rather than to use a lot of hours getting the tools and a lot of money buying them, what I have decided to do is a risky business, but I'm gonna tap them loose using this and a big hammer, and then knock a square socket in there and loosen them up, and hopefully I can get them off. Firstly, I'm just gonna make a notch into the bolt head, like so, a bit more, and then angle it a bit. There we go. It cracked loose. So it just moved a little bit, and you can see the edge down here now because it moved. I can just give it another tap and see if I can make it move a little bit more. Just for the demonstration. The next up, I'm going to use a sacrificial normal sized bit. Use the skill impact to take them out. So doing it this way is not hard, but it does take some time. I think I've used 1.5 hours doing this, which would have been pretty much the same as going to the shops. Then I saved the money, but I think it's off. Sorry for the mess in the background. It is getting out of hand, this project. But let's remove the circlip so I can actually remove the joints. What is the correct tool for this? I don't know. I don't have it. And I'm gonna put some glasses on just to not lose my eyesight. There we go. That's one off. And then I'm just going to let them soak a bit to degrease them a bit. Like that. And then the bearing will be re-greased. and then install this. There we go. And then do the same on the other side and reinstall it. And there we go. New gaiters on this drive shaft. I'm not gonna do it on the other side because it's not torn yet. It most likely will at some point. But now it's good to go for the MOT. It was actually only that was torn, but that's an MOT fail. And now it's just fixed and it's nice. So next up I want to change this, but there is a problem. And I also want to change the rubber down there because it's split. But there is a problem because normally I would just count the amount of turns it takes to take it off, and then put the next one back in with the same amount of turns, and then tighten up the bolt. That normally works to get it into the ballpark. Unfortunately, the new ball joint is the correct one. It seems it fits in the shaft and all that, but it is slightly longer, and it's annoying. But what I'm going to do is to measure from the end of this to the point up here, and then put it in the ballpark area. But I don't even know if it's correctly set up at the moment, and I am planning to set it up using my alignment tool later. But as long as it's driving straightish, I'm happy. Of course it's the wrong one, so I have to make a spacer in here to make it fit. But I think it will eventually work. Yeah, that didn't go as smoothly as hoped, but it will work at least for the MOT, and then I'll see if I can get the correct ones and put them on one day. Probably won't do anything about it unless it fails. But let's install the new ball joint. And then put it in the same position, or as close to as possible. I'd say it's right there. Maybe not right there, but close to there at least. So I'm gonna nip this up. There we go, and then do the same on the other side, except the rubber. And then it's back to the car. So now it should be in the ballpark. If I put the steering wheel in the middle, it might be a little bit off, and I will just have to check. I will just have to adjust that a bit later, but it should be pretty close. And then just the pinch bolt. There we go. The car's pretty much back together now, and I will wrap this video up. Tomorrow I will put the wheels on, I will bleed the brake system, I will check the alignment on the front, probably do some more adjusting to the engine, and then I think it's MOT ready, maybe even tomorrow. I really hope that. I really hope that. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.